Hi, my name is Katie Morgan. I am in the MBA at Texas A&M Corpus Christi. This is Entrepreneurship Management 5350 with Professor Patterson. And this is my week 6 Sunday reflection. So this week was tasked with the opportunity to interview someone who has either bought into a franchise, bought an existing business, or has gotten in the world of licensing. I did have a family friend that has bought a franchise for Massage Envy, a massage parlor that is a pretty well-known chain. They unfortunately were not available for an interview, so I did take to social media to see if I knew anyone else. And an old friend reached out and said that they do have experience in the world of licensing. So I was able to speak with her, the wife, Tiffany. Both her and her husband started a business called Locale Wine. It is a small batch wine company that they create their own wine. They used to live in San Francisco and they had some connections in Napa Valley. So they actually got to tour a bunch of vineyards out there and choose an organic grape that they really liked and utilize those grapes from the farmers out there and who also had the machinery to create their own wine. So they create reds, whites, rosés, and they sell those to anyone that wants to try their wine. So it's very unique business. It's really cool. And so I got to speak to the wife, Tiffany, about it to see kind of what they've done with licensing and what they've learned from that world. So a few things that she shared with me was that they had to get specifically an 85 license in California to even sell alcohol. Selling alcohol is a very strict, tedious process, as most states do have that in place. So they had to get that their own. They said it cost about $2,000 to $3,000, and they said they had to get many things notarized several times, and it was a super long process. It took about 6 to 8 months to get that done. Um, and then they ended up relocating to Texas, and there they had to get the TABC license for Texas. They did look into having someone help them get that license, but they said just to have someone help, it was going to cost around $10,000. So they did decide to do that on their own. But she was going through these steps to explain to me that every state they were going to have to do a lot of those things and get those licenses to sell their alcohol. So it was a much smarter decision for them to then license out their product. So they said that most licensing deals they have to renew every year. They cost about $500. And the one thing that they wanted to stress for advice is that you can never be late with those deadlines, because if you are late, you have to start all over. So that's one thing that they definitely recommended, to stay on top of those deadlines to make sure those licensing deals do not expire. But what they ended up doing is they would license their product out to different shipping businesses, because how that would work is a lot of these shipping businesses had licenses in other states. So then instead of them having to go get those licenses there for locale for their business, they could just license out the product for them to sell it and minimize that next step that they would have to do to sell it to a different state. So that is one deal that they did, so that they wouldn't have to license more so and go through that tedious and strenuous process to get more of those licenses. Um, she said that there's different states that don't require some of that stuff, but just to be able to broaden their market and to the different customers that they might know that want to try. That's one licensing deal that they did do. So overall, they said that they do recommend to look into licensing deals just to be able to expand your selling options. It sounds like, you could have it in so many different areas. Like, for example, for them, they said, if we wanted to do a licensing deal with a grocery store, like that could be an option. They are in the process of trying to start doing that with different vendors at farmers markets and at different restaurants where they could sell their bottles of wine. So that was very interesting. And they did say the only drawback that they could really think of was just the amount of paperwork and signatures that it takes, and that it takes months and months for those deals to get done. So it sounds like from what I took from the conversation was it will be a lot of work to start those deals off, get the licensing deal rolling, get all the paperwork done, make sure all the legalities are set in stone. But once that is over with and you can have somebody else sell your product, then that will give more time to you to do something else, or more time, that won't be wasted you trying to sell your own product and you're having somebody else do it for you. So very interesting. I think that they can eventually, if they wanted to, even create more and more bottles of wine each year and kind of expand the business. And they can definitely get into maybe local corner stores or local grocery stores or little boutique shops. Anything like that is really something that they could license out and make it such a phenomenal business. So that is what I learned from them. Thank you so much.